Welcome to part 2 of Optimizing Cash Flow. I'm David Worrell from Fuse Financial Partners, and we're giving you some tips to make sure your cash flow keeps moving in the right direction and keeps the business humming forward. So today we're talking about invoicing and the proper form, function, and follow-up to go through when you send an invoice to a customer. I've got 6 or 7 tips for you in the next 2 minutes, so let's jump right in. First of all, when you send an invoice for the first time to a new customer, don't forget that's not the only thing you need to be sending. You need to be sending them a W-9 that includes your federal employer ID number, that's your EIN. Every client will have to have that information in order to pay you and stay compliant with their own tax policies. So don't forget to send that right along with the invoice. Second, on the form of the invoice, I think you also should list some important things. For example, the ACH information that your customer will need to pay you. Lots of larger companies will only make payments to their vendors via ACH, so it's important that you put your bank routing number and your bank account number at the bottom of the invoice so that they can do that properly. Consider click to pay. You know, if you're using QuickBooks online or desktop, it has a built-in click to pay system. You have to activate it, you have to ask Intuit to turn it on, but then when you email an invoice, your customer sees it on the screen, they can click through, enter their credit card or bank account information, and it gets paid instantly. The money lands in your bank a couple of days later. You never have to futz around with a paper check or walking across the street to the bank to make the deposit. It's really a super way. It costs very little, and everybody should have a click-to-pay solution on their invoices. Finally, the invoice should have both the terms and the penalties for what happens if they don't pay within terms. So by terms, I mean payment terms. Net 30, net 45, whatever your standard payment terms are, put them on the invoice. And then also include on the invoice the penalty. If they go beyond those terms, let them know that you're going to charge interest or a late payment fee. And finally, we come to the follow-up, right? Really important that when you send an invoice, you follow up 3 times. First is in the first 3 days. You want to know that they received the invoice, that it got to the accounts payable clerk, that it's been entered. So just give them a friendly call and say, hey, we haven't been sending you invoices lately. I wanted to make sure the right person has it. I want to make sure that she's still at her desk, all those things. Be friendly about it. In 2 weeks, I want you to call back and say, hey, I wondered if you could tell me what the schedule is to pay my invoice. So they know that you're managing your cash flow and you're looking after these things. It'll put a little reminder in their head to pay that on time, and hopefully they'll be able to give you that schedule. If they still haven't paid after 30 days, I want you to call them back a 3rd time, and this time you might have to be a little bit more firm with them. You were expecting payment last week, the payment hasn't arrived. If necessary, we may have to cut you off of our services, right? We will no longer be able to ship to you, we'll no longer be able to come out and provide services to you. So call them 3 times, make sure your form has all the right information in it. And if you do these things, I think you'll see that the customers will respond, and they'll respond with their dollars. You'll get the cash in the door, and that's making your cash flow go the right direction. Join us again later for more tips about how to optimize your cash flow. I'm David Worrell from Fuse Financial Partners. Thanks for joining.